It was the 14th of July 2018.
Myself and my husband travelled to Portsmouth to our youngest son's graduation, and returning home to Weymouth, we were involved in an RTC, and my husband passed away at the side of the road. My first memory was laying at the side of the road and thinking I was in some nightmare, until I saw a policeman.
I was on an early turn and we were just coming towards the end of the shift, and colleagues came across what turned out to be a very serious road traffic collision at the end of the Puddletown bypass on the A35. Whilst en route, we learned that sadly Dave, who was the driver of one of the cars, passed away at the scene, and his front seat passenger, who was Heather, was seriously injured.
So at the beginning, my parents and myself were at my graduation in Portsmouth. So I stayed up in Portsmouth with one of my friends to celebrate, and my parents came home, or they were travelling home, and on the A35 they got into an accident where my dad sadly passed away. And the next thing I remember was being in Southampton Hospital comforting my mum, and that's where I met Mark.
A family liaison officer will enter the lives of people at the worst time possible, and they will be there as they adjust to their new normal. We call it this as life will never be the same again for them, but the family liaison officer is there to provide them with information on topics no one ever wants to know about.
A couple of days after the incident, I went round to Paul's house and met with all the family and explained the processes of what a family liaison officer does and what would happen with the court and coronial processes.
I don't know how I would have coped if Mark hadn't been there. From the minute he knocked on my door, he was just really, really supportive. I haven't got a huge recollection of what happened. I just remember he sat there in front of me and spoke to me very calmly, kept me on a level, so I could try and think about what I needed to do next to inform other members of the family. Without him, I just wouldn't have coped.
I have to say that having Mark there for all the way through this difficult time has been a bit of a weight lifted off of our collective shoulders. It was a very strange feeling to think what was a perfectly normal evening. My wife was out at the theatre and there was a knock on the door just prior to 10 o'clock at night, and there was two policemen, one of which was Mark.
Family liaison officers are one of a kind. This is a voluntary role on top of their primary job as roads policing officers, which is already a high trauma area of policing. They not only support the bereaved, but are also a point of contact between the investigation team and the family.